Hello guys, you're welcome to the Minority Report Nigeria. What's wrong with you? I am Dozie and
I'm Walter.
You see?
Don't worry, I was busy feeling myself.
So, first of all, we'd like to thank you guys for all the feedback on our last video. There was a lot of people had a lot of things to say, and if for everybody,
let me just, let me take you guys back to when I said he's going to be the aggressive one, the one we just want to hate.
I got lots of feedback that I came off as too aggressive and too confrontational. But I'm both things. I'm both aggressive and confrontational.
I suppose it comes from a place of having emotions. I mean, it's okay to be factual and logical and level-headed about things, but I remember my mother said something about how emotions I'm paraphrasing here, are like the fuel. You can have all the facts and the logic, but without emotions you can't really, you don't get to act as much as you should.
Preach.
so it's cool, he has to pass his point across.
Exactly. So there you have it. The camera is level with us now. A lot of people complain about that too, and I'm going to try.
We're looking down on you guys.
I'm going to try to keep my hands to myself. People complain about that, so I'll still touch a feeling with Walter, whatever that is. And what else again? I guess that was just about it.
Yeah. We appreciated the feedback, and we would like to encourage more of that.
And incorporate as much of it as you can. I'm not going to be talking as fast as this. I'm going to talk like I'm on Prozac, like, hello guys. Anyway, let's get into today's vlog. Today we will be talking about LGBT representation and Nollywood.
Yes, it's for a long time. This is an industry that's it has its roots in being able to mirror our society. I remember growing up as a child. Well, not as a child, as a teenager, when I started having so many questions about some things that didn't seem realistic to me, and all these diabolical scenes. It just seems so fantastic, like people disappearing, people going to the everything. It just seems so extreme. Well, I suppose it would seem like that because I had a protected childhood, but when I express my disbelief to my mother or my dad, any one of them, they will tell me, but yeah, that's the way the world is, that's the way Nigeria is, and they're only telling the story, they're only trying to tell us that this is what is obtainable in our society, that are people who are really evil, and people who do things we wouldn't think they would do, who go to native doctors, who poison people, who, all this stuff. And so I've grown up and realized that that's a fact true, and kudos to Nollywood for doing that kind of, for telling those kind of stories.
Only those kind of stories mostly
can. But here is where they are failing, and it's if your job is to tell the story of the society, you should tell it as accurately as you possibly can. And when it comes to the LGBT community, when it comes to gay men and gay women and bisexual men and bisexual women and trans men and women, they don't do that. The film industry is supposed to be like this machine, this industry, this institution whose job is to effect change or to influence the perception of the society
through
to
images.
shape the society. They're supposed to be a part of the society. They're supposed to serve as an institution that works to make the society better, more human, But in the case of Nollywood, it's instead they are being influenced by the society to tell their stories. The film industry is supposed to influence the society on
show
their
the possibilities
of the people in it. And
let me just say this first. Generally speaking, Nollywood tends to be really irresponsible with the sort of movies that they put out, particularly when it comes to addressing certain issues. For example, the whole whenever somebody, a character in a Nollywood movie has a breathing problem, you know, the way they go with the inhaler, that can get somebody killed, you know. And then so a bunch of other stuff. I was watching a movie recently on Africa Magic Igbo, a movie titled Nollywood. Whoever the director is, you should be ashamed of yourself. And then there was this character who was HIV positive, and his friends abandoned him, and later they had a change of heart. Why did they have a change of heart? Because their friend was going to die. This was literally what they said, because they had a change of heart because their friend was going to die anytime soon. And like, in 2018, you are still peddling the narrative that being HIV positive is a death sentence. How lazy and irresponsible is that? And then there's somebody out there somewhere who is uninformed, has no idea about these things, and then he sees that, he or she sees that and thinks, okay, this is it, and it reinforces very dangerous ideas.
Yeah, and you said the word lazy. That is the bedrock. I've come to realize the bedrock of our movie productions. Laziness.
The ineptitude.
There is such a yes, there is hard work in actually producing a movie, but you just they spend a little less time in building up the production.
Basically, there's absolutely no research,
and that is something, a huge feeling in Nollywood. And it's pervasive in all the stories that it tells, in all the characters that it represents. They don't seem to do the work, and they seem to have no realization of their power as a force in shaping perception of society. Yeah, because if they did understand that, if the film industry did understand that they have an impact, they would be more conscientized to do a better work of what stories that it tells, how they tell their stories. How can you be selling the idea that somebody, the moment is HIV positive,
he's going to die anytime soon?
That was contrary to everything worldwide that the people, that forces that are working for
that's even
HIV
awareness.
Fake news. It runs contrary to everything they are trying to say, that you should not feel condemned to death once you have HIV.
And everything they're trying to say based on facts, based on empirical evidence.
If our film industry had put energy, put time into researching that topic called HIV, if they are
one Google search is all it would have taken. One.
Just go to a few health clinics, talk to some doctors, really sit down with them, interact with the people who are HIV positive, the patients. That's all, really.
Speaking
specifically, and that's the same way it is with the
LGBT representation.
Representation.
That's a stretch.
It's not,
that's a big stretch.
These are people who are depicted as
caricatures.
Either people who sleep around, people who are demonic, people who are satanic,
who need to be exercised,
people who are just generally a menace to the society. That is as far as anything as one can get from the truth. I don't believe for an instant that these producers, these actors and these actresses, that they don't know, they've never come in contact with, or they don't know any LGBT people in their lives, that they can sit down and say, you know what, I want to really know about what goes on in your life.
But here's the thing, like, even if you haven't ever met somebody who's LGBT before, here's the thing, I have a problem with this idea somewhat that the LGBT, experiences of LGBT individuals is so remote and alien to the human experience. Like, I don't get that.
You remember in an instance, it's when that French journalist was questioning Chimamanda and asked her if Nigeria had bishop. Remember how we were all outraged? My God, how can you even think that? You say that the single story of Africa is Boko Haram and violence. But seriously, there are some things you just take for granted that we also have, like the rest of the world. I mean, this is
if there were no bookshops, so by extension, if there were no bookshops and there are no books in this Africa or Nigeria of high imagination, how would Chimamanda have had the foundation that made her? I don't know. I cannot excuse such ignorance.
It's the same. It's applicable here too. You know these people are human beings. So how?
And it's the same things they feel, they love. There is no. There's no big God.
But one,
if you know, can relate
why I thought about having to have people in your lives, or people you can talk to about that, is it puts a face to it. Whenever it comes to, yes, prejudice is so real that it puts the thing you're prejudiced against very removed from you, and that's how it tries. That's how prejudice tries. When it's not close to you, when it has no human face, then you can easily feel the horrible things and say the horrible things you can about it. But in helping to tell your story, if you are able to interact with a member of the LGBT community, it makes it clearer. Yes, you have the general idea that they feel that they love and all that, but it's all part of the research. You get
but here's the thing. I feel like that, because it is a refusal to do your research, comes from a place of disdain that goes beyond prejudice. Because here's the thing, I can be prejudiced about something, and I say this all the time. Prejudice in and of itself doesn't have, I don't have a problem with anybody being prejudiced, so long as you're prejudiced in your house. But when you bring it into public domain, it means sort of prejudice is normalized in public spaces, and you do realize that. So it then becomes a thing of power. You cannot talk about, this outside, because you as somebody from one ethnic group can prejudice against somebody from another ethnic group, but you're not making a movie denigrating people of that ethnic group.
You see, if that was what was going on, if Nollywood came up tomorrow and started filming things that demeaned the Fulani cattle herdsmen, or
there would be a lot of it to raise the ruckus.
It's a serious problem.
So this is also there's a lot. The power dynamics also needs to be considered, because if you are going to make a movie, it's right that you do research. You research your characters, but that refusal to research some of these things reflects the power dynamics. This, like, I can do whatever I want. Nobody's going to question me on this. Nobody's going to call me out on this. And it's so terrible. Like, I feel, for me, what makes this thing even more tragic is that movies made by bodies that are supposed to represent the rights of LGBT people also tend to fall really below par with this stuff too, like Everything in Between, directed by Ashoyi Raka something.
It's a YouTube series.
It's a YouTube series, and it was produced and put out under the auspices of Tears,
The Initiative of Equal Rights.
The Initiative of Equal Rights. And then you have a show where the actors clearly have no respect for the characters they're playing. We were at the premiere of that serial, and it was a mess. There was this rhetoric that was constantly repeated, that the acceptance is not necessary, understanding. I'm like, what the fuck is that? What completely anti-logical bullshit is that? Why do you understand? Why do you even need to understand me? Like, I personally have a problem with those dynamics of, I'm trying to convince you of my own humanity. Like, my humanity is so remote that you need, a 5-year intensive course on. Like, what the heck is that? What really does that even mean? And you had that constant bullshit. There was a video I watched recently, also by Tears. What's it called again? This Untold Facts. And then they had two filmmakers, and they were discussing this very same thing: LGBT representation in movies, and and that same rhetoric came up. LGBT people should realize that it's not a war. You shouldn't come with force. You should try to pander to sensibilities. Honey, what does that mean? Now here's the thing, like, I keep saying this every single time. If being understanding, if being accommodating where the prerogative of the oppressed, they will not be oppressed. It just does not stand to reason. So y'all go do your jobs. do your research. It's not left. You cannot doubly task the oppressed. It's not left. It shouldn't be, it shouldn't even at all be the prerogative of LGBT to educate your lazy asses.
Here's the thing. These are people that are oppressed. The people that the foundation for any interaction between them and the larger community is hate, is scorn, and it's all that stuff. And this is what they have to get through every day, And on top of that, you're giving them the assignment of making their enemies see them as more human. Like, seriously, how sensitive to their struggle can you get? And it's excuses. You're giving them this job. How about the other side?
And making them out as the aggressors.
Making the efforts to be more human. To be more, if you're going to ask the community to be patient and understanding and approach these people with a soft footed, how about these other people? They do the same. Why does that rhetoric is actually quite insulting to the larger community as a whole. It depicts them as people who are incapable of being human beings unless they are shown the way. This isn't
unless they are babied.
The LGBT community they are not Jesus Christ. They didn't come to the world to show you the way, the truth, and the life. They are here as part of your community too.
Yes.
They are also waiting for Jesus to come and show them that same way that you are looking for. I remember when I was talking about this with someone, and he said, "Well, the thing you have to understand is that we are still trying to understand all these things, And then he said, even the West, you people compare us to how far they've gone. They were once here, They at some point they were also persecuting people. And here's what the problem I have with that kind of logic. It reinforces the resentful rhetoric that Africans are backward.
Absolutely. That's what I was going to say.
So if you're going to have a problem with that thinking, that condescension that whites usually have, that Africans are backward, if you're going to say no, we are not, then why would you want to say, well, the British and the Americans and the Canadians, they've gone far, but they were here once. So in other words, we are the okay. If the time of the homophobia was in 1900, so we are in our 1900 in 2018. Humanity has no timeline. There is no timeline in humanity. You are either just you're a human being or you're a monster, and you can't say give us time to get to the humanity of 2018. We're just.
But I refuse to excuse that fuck shit. We need to understand. What do you need to understand? We are talking love here. We are basically talking about the human experience. It is no different from what any other person feels.
They do.
So what exactly do you need to understand that one person can love another person? You need to understand that is possible, or you need to understand sexual attraction, that very human thing. What is so alien about that to you? So Jesus Christ, like Jesus saved me. Like
he is holding himself back.
I can't deal. When you say such nonsense.
Listen, at the end of it's just okay.
It's power. That's what it comes down to. It's a power trip.
Yeah. When you're talking about, we're saying the LGBT community should take their time and be patient and strive to make the other person understand. Well, here's an actress. She was in these tears produced movies.
Tubosun. What's the full name again? Tubosun.
Something like
Tubosun.
Yes. Apparently she's actually an established actress and all that. I haven't seen her in anything except when I started watching the Hell and High Water and everything too. And she has been in this production, this LGBT production. This production,
LGBT
in spite of its fabric, its intent is to foster acceptance and understanding. She has been in productions like this. Now you would expect someone like that to be
has some sort of perspective.
yes, even if you're not going to be accepting, even if you're not going to, even if you, but at least you have the respect for the production you're a part of, for the people
At the very
who are
least.
representing. But that premiere that Dozie just talked about was where I was stunned during a Q&A when we're talking to them and asking them questions, the actors asked questions and we were responding, and she said something to the point of how she would rather dismember her child. No, dismember, that's that's more painful. Than accepts that the child is LGBT. You not only said this as the cast of an LGBT-centric production, you also said this to a crowd of people who have come to be enlightened, who have come to be educated by your efforts to represent a community properly. There were so many things wrong with that statement in that particular scene, in that particular crowd.
And a lot of other statements in that particular scene and that particular crowd. That was the most outlandish. That was the most idiotic of all. That was the
thing. This is somebody who has been
statements.
wooed into being part of a production.
Twice.
Of representation.
Twice.
So this is someone who you would expect to already have an understanding of the people. So I'm sorry. So at what point?
Money is just
so the people who were the LGBT community members who were soft pedaling to approach her. At what point did they go wrong? I have to ask. Right, in their job of approaching her and making her more acceptable and being considerate of her sensibilities. At what point did they go wrong?
Listen.
See, at the end of the day, the job doesn't lie with the other person to make you more human. The job lies with you. The job lies with the person to be more, to make the effort.
You have a responsibility to be sensible. You know, everybody does.
That responsibility is there's no people it eludes more than others. There is no establishment, no institution that eludes more than others. They have absolutely no respect for the LGBT community, and that is very wrong. It's sad and it's tragic.
Even worse. Here's something else. It's hard to say. Like we've mentioned it before. Bad representation is worse than no representation, and this is also something that came up with that. I'm sorry, Asov guy. I hope I don't mispronounce his name. The director of Hell or High Water, Hell and High Water. I think he referenced. So this was something Ashwin also referenced. The idea that LGBT-related stuff are sensational, and so you can tap into some controversy with this. The business act is very exploitative. Co-exploitation. So
but here's the thing: the industry is the exploitation. It's just so vast and varied. It's either you're exploiting, you're using the storyline, the LGBT storyline, to fast track the perception of how immoral they are, or how much of a menace they are to the society, or you are just doing that for the paycheck.
Yeah.
And you're doing that, and you have everything boiled down to having no respect for these people. Like if you're going to tell a story about an LGBT person, how about you have a little respect?
Yes.
How about there's this movie that this person did and Potential. Actually, let me just clarify now. I did not have the patience to watch the film because I read the synopsis and everything was wrong with that synopsis.
Oh my god!
Where
the movie of has-beens, Paul Basile, Miss Benson, and what was that other washed up thing? That was the movie.
Yes, and here's the thing: to catapult yourself back into relevance, what more to do than to tell an
co-exploitation,
sensationalize it, make it everything that the community wants, and it generates some noise. According to them, they would like to call it a blockbuster film, but so like I was saying, The story, if you haven't heard about the movie, if you haven't heard about it, is Busted, starring Liz Benson and Kate Henshaw and Paula Baisile and amongst the list of others. And the synopsis all over on the internet would likely be to believe that it's this gripping story about a family that is so strict, and the daughter in an act of rebellion, the father is rejecting her, and mother is not paying any attention to her. She decides to go and sleep with the house.
Daddy, mommy, you're not paying attention to me.
Because that's what happens all the time when children refuse to get attention. They go and sleep with the house.
Yeah, of course. That's just very very natural outcome.
If you're the son, you sleep with the driver. Then she becomes used to this lifestyle and grows up to be this loose girl who's just sleeping around with females in Canada. And
who are also from houses where they were neglected. Let's not forget that. That's the sole cause of you have to have been neglected as a child. That's why you're lesbian.
So yes, all gay men and gay women are the way they are because they are not saying that you were possessed by the devil. Apparently, it comes from the family. So,
but if you wait, I guess it's better to be neglected than be possessed by the devil, don't you?
So, in other words, you see the thing with prejudice is very double-edged sword. Like, when you are also trying to condemn a community, you are also pointing another sword at yourself. So, and this movie is a big example of that. In trying to paint the LGBT community as these people who are very moral and all that. The movie is saying when children grow up from neglected homes. So really, mommy and daddy, before you get fired up about your child being gay when you find out.
It's you! It's always been you!
Telling you that you neglected them. So, and that's everything wrong with bad representation. It's not when Nollywood has a bedrock of laziness that they don't explore stories or people behind the stories before telling their story, and that is wrong. You don't say wait for the LGBT community to come to you. You go to them. You find people. Even if you don't,
but I still like to stress.
You don't even have to find anybody.
Need to. This is just human.
It's basic.
Anybody can
basic.
empathize.
If you're going to tell a story about a man who loves a man or a woman who loves a woman, stop there. That's just the story.
Yeah,
a man who loves a man and a woman who loves a woman. That's just the story there. You don't have to embellish it with any demonic references or any satanic embellishments or any it stems from some sort of neglect. No, if that is not the story you will tell for heterosexual love, then please don't tell it for homosexual love. It's just wrong
and oppressive. One of my favorite words.
It's just at the end of the day, this is what we want to we hope you all get.
Hello, tears.
And we hope the representatives of Nollywood they get, if they are watching this, is that you have to do the work. You don't wait for the LGBT community to do the work for you. Even if they did, if you don't want to learn, you will not learn. So, at the end of the day, you have to do the work. You have to get to understand that people are people are people.
Yeah, but stating this for me is trite. If you are going to tell a story, it stands to reason that you want to tell the story as best as you possibly can. So why is this different in these situations? They need to question, they need to interrogate that for themselves. Because saying you need to do the work, these things are trite. Of course you need to do the work. Of course you need to do your research.
We have to remind them because they seem very forgetful in the words of the developers. They seem very forgetful. We have to, remind them because you are not doing your jobs well.
At all. Well,
if you're going to tell an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer or a janitor or anyone to do his job well, you should also do yours well. You should you should tell your stories better. You should be human beings
and create human characters, not caricatures.
You should be human beings, and it all comes from everybody being more human. It's your responsibility to be more human. It's nobody's job to point out to you that the things the stories you should tell, the message you should pass across should be more human. That's what really this is about.
Yeah. So
People
do
being
better. Do better, Nollywood. Do better, Nollywood.
Yes, do better.
Oh, we are going to what punishment?
28 years imprisonment.
We are not going to. That's 14 times 2. But yes, that's what we have time for this week. See you next time. Until then, I am Dozie.
I am Walter.
Bye bye. To everybody except Nollywood.